Spoilers and Fandom is like a book club for geeky stuff. Join us as we delve into the depth of our backlogs and sift through the games, comics, shows, movies, and books that we haven't checked out yet. Hey everyone, welcome to the episode. I was going to say the final episode. Welcome to the episode of House of Chains. We're going to talk about the spoiler-free. It is book 4 of the Malazan Book of the Fallen. I am Hell's Knight, aka Sujay. And we'll go around.
Hillary, aka Hillary2K2, because now I'm known by that name.
Dean Meister.
Yes.
Yeah, so we got...
This is Agri.
Wow, I nearly cut you off completely. So we got everyone together to do the episode, which is kind of why it took so long. We had scheduling conflicts, and we read the book at different paces. Yeah.
I took my time with this book, again.
You were really fast, though.
At the beginning, yes.
Yeah, at the beginning.
Then I got randomly busy, like, towards the end. Then I was like, I'll give it... I took, like, 2 weeks off from reading it.
Yeah, I think when I started, you had finished.
Again.
So it's been like, I don't know, maybe a 2-month gap.
Literally, it has been a 2-month gap. I started again last week, but I think I'm in chapter 4 or chapter 5. I haven't got that far in again.
So you read the book twice? Or you're reading it
Actually,
three times?
Yeah, this is the third time, because he'd already read it before.
Okay, you are our lore expert for this book.
I'll try.
Okay.
Because I finished it. I also went through it pretty quick.
Oh yeah, you finished it before I did.
Yeah, but also like it's been a month. So I've just been marinating, trying to think of the book again.
Yeah. So this might be a bit challenging, but we'll give it a shot.
Yeah, just bear with us if we mess up a couple of things.
Yeah. But there is a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're new to the show, we check stuff out. And we have a non-spoiler episode and a spoiler episode. So this is going to have no spoilers, even though it's the 4th book in a series.
Yeah.
So we'll try and be as vague as possible, but it's a little tricky at this point. So, how's the chains?
I liked it. I actually really did like this book. Even though I felt fatigue
Me too.
halfway through.
Oh, I did not.
I think I'd already mentioned this earlier. This is my favorite book in the series thus far. I've gotten up to 7, and yeah, book 4 is still favorite book in the series.
So it's downhill from here.
What about you?
Not really downhill. Hey.
But for me, though initially I really liked it. Now it's just I like it, but not as much as I did initially, because of it seems more of a continuation of other books than a story in and of itself.
So I really liked it as well. And yeah, so this book, it wraps up things that happened in book 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which was Dead House Gates.
It
It
does.
was in book 3.
And it sort of is a sequel to that. Yeah, it also wraps up. It has a nice conclusion to stuff that happened in book 3. I won't go into details on any of that. And it's sort of initially. So the way this book is structured is the first 5, 6, 7 chapters sort of take place before the events of book 2.
Yeah.
And then it goes after.
Yeah.
I think it's like the first 7 chapters or something like that.
Yeah.
And so we get the background of a character who I won't say right now which character that is. He is called Karsa Orlong in this book, and he has a plot that starts sort of before book 2, and it sort of concludes a story, I guess, in at the end of this book. And that I think that is the only plot that starts and ends
In this book.
in this book is his story.
Yeah, pretty
Compared
much.
to the other ones.
Compared to other guys,
Yeah.
because for the other major characters in this book
Yeah.
have gone through things, but it feels like they're getting ready to be relevant now next.
And yeah. Yes, exactly. It does wrap up Deadhouse Gates, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the plot lines that didn't get wrapped up in Deadhouse Gates is over. Yeah, and a lot of questions are answered again. And in terms of new characters, this book didn't give us too many
But
in
they
terms
give
of...
They give us,
Actually, they give us quite a...
Yeah,
quite a
there are.
important
Okay,
guys.
sorry. For me personally, the new characters who were introduced didn't seem that appealing. I guess it's because of their similarity to... I can just talk because they're new characters. We're introduced to like a new squad in the Malazan army. I forget their name already. They're not bridge burners. They're called...
The Bone Hunters.
No,
Because that's the name of the...
that's
of
the name of...
That's the name of the entire army.
The entire
for-
army.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm talking about the squad of like guys who are under house arrest. They're like their own faction. They had those guys. I'm talking about them.
Yeah. I remember them.
There's like a mage called like Sin or
Bottle.
something.
Bottle. There's what? Is it?
No, bottles in the new in the new army.
Yeah, but... Oh, yeah,
Fortifora.
Sin. Yes. Yeah, Sin, she was in...
Sin was a mage.
Wow, you guys are taking me back.
Yeah, there you go. So we're introduced to some characters who
But-
I didn't think were very outstanding.
No, but those are
that
relatively-
squad.
I'd say those are relatively minor characters.
Yeah, they feel very minor.
Yeah,
Those
but
ones.
Because I'd say like the major ones, I don't know, okay.
Yeah, the
since they're
major
new, I'll
ones.
just say the names since they're new.
Yeah.
I'd say like Troll
Right.
is a major character.
Yes. Yeah.
Onrak,
Yep.
major character.
Yeah.
Very major character.
Yeah.
Lorik,
Yeah.
I don't know because
He.
I don't know how
around
relevant
for-
he'll be later
yeah.
on, but he seems also major.
Yeah. He
This-
was a minor character in
In
book 2. Yeah.
Yes, in book 2, but now he's actually coming to his own.
Yeah.
Then there's also Kasa.
Karsa is a minor character in book 2.
In book 2, but who's-
this book is kind of about.
Yeah.
Yeah, but don't say who he is.
Yes.
And it will be made obvious.
Eventually,
time.
yeah. In a few chapters, you'll know who it is. Yeah.
I like that.
And-
what the book feels like is kind of we've wrapped up all the story bits until that point.
Yeah.
At least the loose ones. But all the stuff that was being hinted about is really beginning to mature.
Yes.
And it seems like we're stepping into now this phase 2 of this battle. This overall battle that has been raging.
Yes, so this isn't a spoiler, but a lot of the characters from, like, if you look at the first 3 books as a trilogy, the characters who reappear in book 4, in this book, they've changed their names. Like, everyone has a name change, and that seems to be like, so it's like a good kind of like, this is the start of a new thing kind of thing.
The new thing.
Yeah, even though they're still wrapping up stuff from the other 2 books, it still feels like a new, like, as you're saying, phase 2 of what's happening next.
What's
Yeah,
coming next.
yeah. So that was cool. So again, the new characters who had a plot: Trollsengar and Onrak. Onrak is a Talanai Mas. Trollsengar is
Just,
he's a Tister Edur.
yeah.
And so their plotline involves them leaving a place. I'll be very vague. They're leaving a place and they're going off somewhere. They sort of just stumble. They sort of just stumble into plot. Basically, is how I'll put it. And it is very short. Honestly, they are interesting characters. It's just that I felt
They
that
don't
their
do a
plot
lot.
went nowhere
Yeah.
in this book. Like, it was like we just got introduced to them.
Yeah.
And I'll also just say, for me personally, I feel like they could have been just introduced in the next book or in a later book because it went nowhere
Okay.
somehow.
There's a couple of things you brought out because Onrak, I know we're talking about this from a non-spoilery point of view.
Yeah.
So
be
Onrak,
vague.
Onrak comes in to
Yeah.
explain one of our bigger enemies, I would say. He just in the
Yeah,
way
yeah.
in the way he shows up and who he is and the context in which people begin to talk about him. They give us literally the origin story of one of the bigger bad people within the overall story itself.
Yeah.
Troll, on the other hand, because Troll I like how they're brought in, because they're brought in. Onrak can't really talk, and then Troll is the one who's talking, and they're in a group of Imas who are also not that keen on talking. So Troll ends up just literally expositing every few minutes and
forcing them to expose.
Exactly. But what I realized with Troll was that all the stuff he was talking about, or at least alluding to, are things that I don't know if you guys were looking into deeply. I guess we'll get into this in the spoiler episode itself. But he talks about stuff that for me is just like, wow, the implications of what this guy is talking about are pretty big. And I like both him and Onrak, because they also come in almost as direct replacements for
Tool
and
Talk.
I was thinking more like Ikariam and Mappo for some reason.
Actually, yeah, because of power scaling.
But you see now, the interesting thing is he also writes this thing. He writes very weird
bromances.
Yeah, because look at Callum and Quick Ben.
Yeah.
The way that this character dynamic is kind of played out throughout. Lorik always has like a film. Callum is running around with the D, either one of the D or Minala, who's known, right? Things like that,
yeah. Wait, who was the other? Who did you say you compared them with?
Tool and Talk.
Tool and Talk. Yeah. Okay. I didn't think of that. Yeah.
Especially because they're almost exact.
Yeah. Like Talk was the talkative one, and okay. That's a huge thing. I didn't notice that. Yeah.
But also what I liked about this book was, since it takes place in basically 7 cities, and it explains a lot more about the desert, about Raraku, and gives context as to why it's so magical by itself, and also how the whirlwind interacts. Because they keep mentioning that Raraku has its own. Raraku's magic is not necessarily the whirlwind.
Yeah.
They kept saying that because it affected them even before the whirlwind came into being.
Yeah.
So how that magic came to be, but also how they explain how it came to be and how it's affecting people, and sort of its origin, but they also haven't fully explained it completely, and it just gets weird.
and some of the things that get revealed are a lot bigger than we're making it seem like as well, but we can't go into detail, obviously. But yeah, I like, what did you think of the reveals in general? I thought they were insane.
The reveals were all awesome, because now that's one thing I really love about now these mangas and books.
Yeah,
it's they take you to a whole new place. Like, you see now when a big thing is revealed in, like, let's say Lord of the Rings, it feels a bit clinical. Here you can see its implication directly in the story.
Yeah. And also because he's laid the seeds of stuff.
Yeah.
From book 1.
Yeah, so you see where it's coming and where it's going.
Yeah.
A character like, again, Casa. I'll come back to this and I'll talk about this even in the spoiler section. For me, I mentioned it to you guys at the beginning. I really couldn't stand him.
I loved him so much.
I really couldn't. But there was a point in the book where everything has changed. Because, now... And I hope that this is the same sort of thing that maybe now you guys who are going to jump off into the book now are going to go through.
Yeah.
Halfway through the book, you just realize...
He flips. He has some crazy character development.
Yeah, and he grows. And you're like, okay. Because now that kind of character he's been... Okay, this is going to use an analogy that follows within the book. He's being sharpened.
Yeah.
His focus is now...
He's being honed,
Yeah, he's being honed, he's being sharpened. Until where you get to the point where now the character that you see at the end is not even at the same level as when he was now shown at the beginning. Not even in the beginning, in Dead House Gates.
Yeah.
Like, try to see the version that we saw in Dead House Gates versus the one we saw at the beginning of this book and the one at the end of this book.
Yeah.
3 totally different guys.
Did you guys feel that way as well?
Yeah, because it helps explain, like, for example, in book 2, I just thought he was being, well, an asshole for no reason. As in, they don't really explain why he is the way he is.
Yeah.
He's just, a very unlikable person.
Yeah.
And in so by the time we get now to book 4, when they were explaining his origins, I was like, okay, I understand how that character came to be. But then we're taken through that phase and past it.
Yeah.
And just that level of growth it's pretty wild.
Yeah. I think that this definitely was like his story with other stuff thrown in there.
Yeah, clean.
Yeah.
I've mentioned this about like Erickson's writing. I really like how what he does is he sets up the world, and he sets up a couple of the characters, and because of the way the situations in the world then play out, the characters then seem to grow organically within it.
Yeah.
And Casa is one of these guys. And what I really like again about the book is because the situations have already been set up and we are being told who these characters are, this book then becomes literally clashes of characters of we already know in situations we are aware of that are either building up because of the way that the cards have been placed, or things are just falling apart, and we're seeing people change like in growth or in like failure, and it's really cool to see how these people are living literally page by page by page.
And I wanted to also ask this, because look at the heroes, quote unquote, that we have in let's say like the Malazan series. Who would we consider like as a major hero in this book, in the series, in the 4 books?
The bridge burners.
To be honest.
Quick Ben.
As in an unequivocal hero, just a good guy generally.
Callum, Quick Ben, Whiskey Jack.
Okay, those are all bridge burners.
Yeah.
Oh, you're looking for aside from the
Coltane.
I don't know.
Coltrane was just a good guy.
Duka.
Like,
I don't want to say. I don't want to say.
Duka would be your good guy.
Yeah, but I don't want to say call anyone a hero because they're still just soldiers in an army, and
it depends on the context.
It really
in.
Yeah.
Maybe the brood mother for the Jagots is also a hero in her own.
in her own way. Okay, no, I'm not meaning like that. Like I mean, the kind of hero who gives you his truth and drives his story.
A hero's tale, like a tale of a legendary character kind of thing.
Almost. Like it follows. It's just that his story tends to be like that.
And Amanda is the
but we haven't had a story.
But is Whiskey Jack like a hero?
And we haven't had Whiskey Jack's story like told.
We've seen him
like
in
that
situations,
as well.
but we haven't seen Whiskey Jack.
And we know he's earned his rep.
Yes.
But we don't
haven't
know
seen him.
how as well, I thought.
Because for me now, the closest thing to a hero that
Can I say
this
Fid?
thing has- I wouldn't
yeah.
say Fid. I would have said Parent.
Parent, yeah.
Actually, yeah, Paran is probably the closest
But even then,
to a
he's
stereotypical
not,
hero.
Paran, I don't think
Paran's
Paran's
sort
story
of-
is over.
Paran-
Paran's story is
Not that it's over. Not that it's over.
No,
I just mean
sorry.
like,
Parent's thing is he sort of fell into
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
Whereas with like Karsa, he's gone for it, like head on kind of thing.
So I'm about. That's why I was gonna say that this is the Malazan's closest
Analog to it.
analog to a hero. Maybe
Kasa.
Anomanda. Maybe Anomanda is up there, but we haven't been told Anomanda's full story the way we've been told this one.
Yeah.
So to
Like-
this point,
like this-
he's our biggest
he's the
hero.
biggest.
Yeah,
hero.
yeah.
Okay, I can see how you'd come up with that.
Yeah. Also, so Karsa's plot is he is
He-Man.
Oh God, he is a character. I'm trying to describe what he is without giving spoilers. He is a character of a race who we learn more about, and he's sort of like a barbarian.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
The barbarian.
he comes from a village, and he sets out on a mission with his two friends to slay 1,000 children, and in the name of his god.
Gods.
His god, who he is most a follower of, is Urgal, and his 6 other gods of his tribe, of his race. And I'm really trying to be vague as possible. So his plot is basically sets out on that thing, and his plot like changes, as Hillary says. It really has a lot of twists, and a lot of discovery and a lot of growth, which we've mentioned, and it comes into a final conclusion. The other plot, we've talked about Anrak and this guy. The other plot is,
Adjunct Tavor.
yeah. So Tavora is tasked with
Stamping out.
stopping the rebellion in Rurak, yeah, and
Seven cities generally.
and there's she has supporting characters from returning characters who I don't want to mention the returning characters because I think it's a nice surprise when they show up.
Yeah.
So I won't mention them, but it involves like returning characters.
Yeah. They'll be happy to see them again.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 characters who I'm not very keen on. Well, I don't like them. I know you guys are
I want
fans.
to ask who, but it's okay. I'll say it.
So I think I can say that well, no, I can't. I can't. Anyways, 2 of the characters are tasked with finding out what happened to Tavora's sister. That's how I'll put it. I don't think that's a spoiler that gives anything away, but they're tasked with that task. And their plot ends as well, but it's not really a very big plot. It's sort of like they come to the conclusion in like the 3 times that they show up,
But you
and
see
it's solved. That plot is solved.
Yeah.
Along the way, they see a lot of things which are really cool, which we'll talk about in the spoiler section.
That's
but-
what I wanted to say, yeah.
We'll talk about that later. But there's that plot. Then there is no, that's it. That's all the plots, right? Involving character-driven plots.
Because there's not really a lot of, like in the books before, there were usually like 2 major plots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here
In the previous books, it was the squad-based thing where this squad is trying to do this, and
Yeah.
this book is the most that way
Yes.
out of all the books.
Yeah, because it's just mini stories all tied together in this grand war of 7 cities.
Yeah.
There's
but-
also those returning characters.
Yeah. From book 2.
From
And book
1
3.
and 2 and three.
Yeah. And so
Of a certain house.
are we happy with the way the plots ended?
A bit.
Most of them are conclusive enough.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm
can't comment.
really
I'm not happy about 2.
yeah.
We'll get-
What is which 2?
Hexand.
Okay.
And on the whole Raraku side, I wasn't very happy about Bidithal and Co. and how that also ended.
I was very happy with how that ended.
I don't know if you'd cut this out or not, but so let me just not say it.
No, I'll censor the H word you said.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll censor that. But if you had said ghost hands, that would be okay. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. No, I just felt there was no real resolution there. Maybe there's more to come.
Yeah.
So we're waiting on that. For these other guys in the desert, well, whatever happened to them happened. I just feel like it should have taken longer. I'd have been okay with 3 chapters of them going through some pain before I say we're done with these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. If okay, so for me as well, the way the Dead House Gates plot with Tavora ended, it was very abrupt. I kind of liked it. I kind of liked it, but it was quite abrupt.
Yeah.
Although, if you consider the way it ended and the implications that has, that was pretty cool. And I'll go into detail in the spoiler section. The other plot that I did not like was Troll and Anrak's story, because it went... Basically, it was there to introduce the next book or something. That's what it felt like. So for me personally, I didn't do much. Karsa's thing, I loved. Karsa's story is just is the craziest. Yeah.
I liked Castle's story, yes, but it wrapped up everything. But it's because of the fact that it felt like a book to wrap up loose threads and introduce other threads, rather than a cohesive story like the other books have been. Because other books, yes, they've also done introducing of characters, introducing of other aspects of the world, but they felt like inside them was still a core story that you can, or stories that you can grab onto. This one, it felt more like, yes, we're going to wrap up everything here and then
give you a jumping off point for the next
the next arcs that are going to come. Yeah, but it was still a good book. It's just that it wasn't as good as the ones that have come before it for me. Yeah.
For me, you might have to cut the next thing I'm gonna say. So
Okay.
Lead up. Advance warning.
not even advance warning. Let's give him a gap so he can hear. Yeah, the whole Throne of Shadow subplot. I loved that stuff. Yeah, I wanted that.
Why would I cut that?
I wanted more stuff from there.
Okay.
I was thinking that might be a spoiler.
Not really. You're not really saying much. And we know about it from the previous book.
So that whole vibe, I really liked that. I wish they gave us more of that. Yeah, I wish they gave us more of that.
Yeah.
Over, again, the Trial and Onrak story.
No.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely.
Okay, like if he dropped off one storyline to give you more detail in another place, which one would you rather do?
Honestly, I'd still rather have the Trial and Onrak, because whenever he does buddy comedy stuff, I love it.
Yes, okay, he's really good with it.
I really love it.
I have no problem with the so just to be clear, like the characters are likable.
Yeah.
They're likable guys. And their hijinks situations with the new characters, with the new things introduced, are pretty funny and entertaining. But just in terms of plot, like for me, it was what brought the book down.
Yeah, because for when it comes to that Throne of Shadows plot, I feel like there would, if he was going to expand on it, I don't think this would be the book for it.
Yeah,
because
definitely not. Yeah.
First of all, there's the characters that we meet there, and then there's additional characters now who come in, especially one character who comes in. You need to know he has an air of mystery that I can only say who had before. Maybe like Rick.
I was even going to say Aragorn. Yeah. The parallel between him and Aragorn is just palpable.
Yeah, because he has... But with that kind of mystery around him, I don't want it to just be limited to a short bit in the book. I'd rather it be expanded.
You've compared...
Yes.
You've compared Aragorn and Rick. I've never thought of that.
Not even
No.
That character.
It's the other character.
In that subplot. There's a guy there who gives me very Aragorn vibes.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
His name starts with the T, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And the Kalam one?
Well, Kalam is in this book.
I'm happy with the things that he's doing.
I enjoy him. I enjoy him as a character. He doesn't really do much.
Kinda. I felt like he took long.
Yeah.
He took a little long to do his thing. That said, what he did.
Remember though, the first half. What I think is a bit like jarring about the book is the fact that they jump straight off, like at the end of 3. We are stuck at a point where there's a lot of action going on.
Yeah.
At least in the sense of if this happens, then this is going to happen. It's going to impact this, that, the other. And you go from there to literally idyllic village life.
Yes. Okay, I wouldn't say idyllic.
No, for a while. It's idyllic village vibe for like 2 chapters. Then it's village adventures. Then it's barbarian adventures for half a book.
Yeah.
Before we go back into whatever's left out. And it feels like, where's Callum been all this time? But then when he shows up and
does things.
Yeah.
And I'm also kind of happy that he and his bromance also.
And
Yeah.
Oi. I'll cut that out. Okay, let's just wrap this up and go into spoilers because this is too hard here.
yes.
So
But
how
it's
would
really awesome.
we're all
Yeah.
eating our own.
yeah,
All the characters.
it's a good book.
Yeah.
It's a really good book. How would you guys rate it?
7, 8.
8. Is that your final one?
Yes, that's my final. That's my final. It's an 8. Strong 8.
Okay. And you?
I'm going to give it a 7.
Uh-huh.
Any reason?
Like I said, it's still the same reason. It felt like it's ending of stories, beginning of other stories, but not really much else in between.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You?
I'd give it an 8.
8.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Because it feels like a Conan book. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
I told you the same thing. Yeah, I told you.
Yeah, and I totally agree.
Yeah.
It's a Conan book.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just amazing.
It's the Conan book I never got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just at its best. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And the way the stories tie up, the way everything comes in together, like even the jumping points where the story is taking.
Yeah.
Like again, the title of the book is House of Chains.
Yeah.
If that's not a foreshadowing, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah. For me, this book started as a 10. But
When to reduce it?
it reduced. Because the Karsa story for me is a 10.
Yes.
Everything else, not like it's gonna make the book as a whole like an 8 for me. Even though so this is weird with ratings, right? Like this is probably my favorite book as well in the series.
Yeah.
I just didn't like the other subplots. I just didn't like. I like the Conan story. I love barbarians. I found him very enjoyable and stuff. And I do also want to point out, again, I do the audio version. We didn't talk about this.
Oh yeah.
I do the audio version, and
Because
you
I did the audio version.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Hill.
So the artist, the voice.
The voice artist.
Yeah,
voice artist has
exactly.
changed, yeah.
Yes, it's gone from it's gone to Michael Page now. Is the new voice actor, and so it does take some getting used to.
Oh, it does.
And yeah,
It
that
does-
whole thing of the way. Okay, the way he changes. He's changed a couple of pronunciations.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people are going to get put off by that if you're doing the audio. I'm not saying that I'm reducing points for that, but it's just something I wanted to point out.
It's just different.
I did get, he does really grow on me. He really did, like, a good job. I feel like both the voice actors do good things.
Like if you had
Like-
started,
like
if you had
they-
started
they
with
have-
them, it depends on who. Like let's say if Michael Page had started from the first book, I don't think I would have an issue because by the end,
Yeah.
I had finally gotten used to him, and I really love first of all his voice for Karsa. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Who? Michael Page.
Michael Page.
Yeah.
Because that graph is, but also
Yeah.
I think that it helped that I hadn't heard
The first one.
the first one, like give his take on that voice.
Ralph Lister's voice for Karsa was not that great.
Yeah.
Because I think it was more like the brief that he was probably given was probably one of like you're a bully and he had to just make a character based off of what we see in Dead House,
Because it doesn't have
which
much
is
room.
which is like the way he plays I don't want to give it away.
No,
But
but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
he
at
plays-
this point in the time
Yeah.
in the book,
Yeah, and
he's a
that's-
particular character.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even the other character, it's a jarring.
And he doesn't really have that much to play with when it comes to in book 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like so like personally for me, like Ralph Lister, he did the Malazan voices better.
Very well.
I thought
Yes.
except for like I didn't think he voiced Kalam very well.
Yeah.
For some reason, the way Kalam is described with the voice Ralph Lister did, there was like it was too
disconnect.
nasal or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, it was odd.
He seemed also kind of old.
Yeah, but this guy does a better Kalam, I
better,
thought,
yeah.
with more of the image of Kalam that I had in my head.
And he sounds a bit like Garrett from the Thief series. Which is
Which
the look
for
that
you
I
is-
had from the get-go. So
Yeah.
that works for
That
me.
works for you.
Yeah, I prefer Page's voice for Kalam.
Yeah,
Also.
so it's weird. Like I think both actors are good. I think they just do different voices.
Different things,
It depends on your taste, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, you will get used to him, I think, unless it's too jarring. Now with the pronunciations, I think Dean is the one who got me used to the pronunciations, because the way Dean would say some words would be different, from the way Ralph Lister used to. So I got used to it. Like I was prepared for it, basically. And even you were doing both to
Yeah, I
see
was
how
doing
things
both
were
to see
spelt
how-
and to see how things were pronounced.
Yeah.
So you probably didn't have
No, like,
that, did you?
it bugged me for a bit. But
Yeah.
I got over it pretty quickly.
There's still. I'm hoping that he improves on how he says soul taken, because
Yeah.
I'm never going
Going
to
to get used to that.
get him
He
to say,
pronounces the first E.
So Lee taken.
no soul taken.
So later.
For example, like he said divers. The
Divers.
way you said divers, I think once
Yeah.
you said
But
divers.
we also say divers the same
In the
way.
same
Yeah.
way, like diverse.
Divers,
Divers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that stuff, and then again, like the creatures, resin. You know, like
Oh yeah.
like little things
Little
like that.
things, yeah. It'll make
But
you.
they won't
you will
really
get-
take away from
Yeah.
the story so much.
If anything, I would say that he sounds a bit more exotic with
Yeah.
with the accents he does. Like
Exotic.
Seven Cities dudes sound like Seven Cities dudes, but he makes the Malazans also sound like they're like Oriental somehow, which is weird. Where Lister kind of did like a European
Yeah.
take on them, so that for me was jarring.
But on the flip side, Page has it now from book 4 to the last one. So
Which is
Yeah,
good.
I'm
Which is
fine
good.
with that. I'm fine with that.
yeah.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm still
Try them,
here.
by the
I'm
way.
still here
They're
reading.
honestly like, again, if you've read the books, listen to these. They feel like
This-
plays. They really do. They feel really cool. Like to hear the dialogue being spoken with emotion is
Since
on
I've been
another
waiting
level.
for you guys on 5, I guess I'll start off with the audiobook on 5 just
Yeah.
to see
Yeah.
just see how it sounds.
Yeah.
But the thing I was actually thinking about was, imagine a fully dramatized version of these books.
You mean with
Explain
sound effects and
dramatized.
stuff?
With sound effects, you get like voice
Oh,
actors.
you go full BBC with it.
I like such stuff.
Damn.
But I've listened to a lot of cheesy ones. That's my issue.
Yeah, no, but this one they play it straight.
you've
Again,
seen it.
No, I'm saying.
Oh, you're
that
asking.
there is-
Ah, okay.
Would there be a market for it, or is that too much even to ask for this?
I think if this caught popularity,
In the same way, like let's say maybe if you like, you could do it now for Game
I-
of Thrones, but I don't.
see, there's no.
If it
Like-
hasn't
look-
Like Lord of the
already
Rings,
happened.
also, yeah. I'm sure it has like remedy by now.
I've listened to Twilight in that way, like
Wow.
dramatized with weird stuff. It was horrible. I couldn't. it was worse. It was worse
I'm
than
so
the
sorry.
movies.
That could
It
have
was-
been because it's Twilight.
Yeah. No, it was just the choices. It's the choices. So, for example, when guys are marching, what will you hear?
Marching?
Right? Right. What is marching for you? Right?
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right. And instead you hear like a bunch of like other things to like it can sound really cheesy as well. So it really depends on how they do it. Like
No thanks.
yeah, I don't know. I think it would depend.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'd really like to get like a full-on dramatized version of these books.
Yeah.
That's why I'm also avoiding. I don't know. I'm just
Do the books, they're good.
Yeah.
avoiding
No,
that
audio.
ebook because I'm not sure what What will it sound like? Will it
No,
sound
no.
like anything I've heard in my head?
A bit. There'll be some
No,
overlaps.
no,
but
it won't. I think you're better off just thinking it won't,
And going
and then
going
be
like that.
pleasantly surprised if it does for whatever reason. But yeah,
Although I still want to praise that Casa depiction.
yeah, he's
So-
dope.
He sounds like an
Michael Page
absolute-
does an amazing Carson. Yeah,
Sounds like an absolute barbarian.
yeah, yeah, and yeah.
But for everything else, you'll see.
Anyway, so for me, it was an 8.
So it
as
comes
well.
highly recommended.
So yes, I do recommend. You have to read.
The first thing.
I mean, if
Yeah,
the
it
Karsa
would make
story,
sense.
if a Karsa story was separate as a book,
Yeah.
you
Yes.
could just read that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You
it's
can
not.
still read it. You can still read it because.
But I think-
you'll be left hanging, and then you'll be like, okay,
Yeah.
now I need to know about this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you don't have to read book 3 as such to read this book.
No, not really.
No,
you can
but-
read it.
No, but there's news of the final event that happens in book 3.
Yeah, you'll
The
get
new-
spoilers
the-
for
the
book 3
news
for
comes,
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but actually you don't need to because then you'll still have to read the book like
To
3 to
understand
find out
it, yeah.
how it came to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so read this. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So 7 and 8.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, this is the lowest book I've rated.
Really?
Yeah, because everything I've given 9 so far. and again, it's my favorite one
Yeah.
so far. So let's yeah, take that as you may. And so next week we'll go into the spoiler complete episode.
Yeah.
Talk in detail about stuff. There's a lot. And we'll be starting the next book, which is Midnight Tides.
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. And yeah, thanks for listening.
Thanks. I'm Hila Tuketu.
Dean Meister.
Agree.
I'm CJ. Bye.
Bye.
Do you have an opinion on what we just discussed? Did we miss something? Tell us in the comment section and we'll read it in the next episode. If you're listening on Anchor, send us a voice message and we'll add it to this episode. Don't forget to follow our podcast on Twitter @SpoilFans for updates. And follow our Instagram for behind the scenes action @Spoilers and Fandom. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube and Anchor to get the latest episodes.